How is everyone doing? This is akathecoot with a Ashe bottom ranked game. Ashe is a great character for beginners, but she's also an excellent character for people who want to take the time to actually learn how to play her and learn how to play her in a more aggressive playstyle, I've come to find. Also very good at kiting, but I prefer the aggressive nature. Her passive is, if Ashe is not attacked for 3 seconds, she gains focus stacks, which stack up to 100 and make sure that her next strike, when at 100, is a guaranteed critical strike. Her Q is Frost Shot. It basically slows the target and is toggleable, if that's a word. Ashe fires 7 arrows in a cone with her W that deal frost damage and also slow the target. Her E is a hawk shot. Every level you have on that gives you extra gold when she kills a unit. It also shows the area when you shoot it out. And her ultimate is Enchanted Crystal Arrow, which fires a really big arrow in a straight line, and based on the distance it travels, it slows the enemy targets up to 3 seconds. One of the best initiating moves in the entire world. If you can land it, as you can see, I do not do a very good job this game with that, but that is the nature of the beast. Ashe's build is it's pretty simple as far as AD carry builds go. I don't do anything too crazy with her. I go for the Bloodthirster into the Phantom Dancer most times, starting with boots and getting the Vampiric Scepter for some sort of sustain in lane, especially when you're playing against someone like Vayne and Alistar. This combination could be a big pain because Alistar has the ability to move you way out of position and Vayne has the ability to close the gap without an issue. So we kind of counter that. Once again, it's Loki there. You can see we play tons and tons of games together, try and get some chemistry down, but he's a great support, Leona, and I try and do work with Ashe. Here we get the jump on Trundle coming across, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot there. That cannon backs off, and Loki does a good job of knowing that he shouldn't be there too. He's been doing a real good job lately of trying to keep the bushes warded and pinking their wards in the river and in the bushes and trying to get a little extra support gold. Here's a good example of last hitting under the tower. I found that in the very beginning, the armored minions, if you let them take 2 tower hits, if they don't have any damage done from them, you can get the last hit immediately. And the mage minions, the smaller ones in the back, if you hit them first, then let the tower hit it, you can then initiate the last hit on them, getting the gold that you need to and trying to keep your CS up. Especially in the instance where you're playing against a Vayne who has the ability to, if she wants to, like almost right away, she can very easily keep up with CS compared to someone like Ashe who doesn't have the skill set or would be mana deprived if she spammed her skills in order to try and do the whole using her skills to get CS. Here is a great play by Fiddle. He gets the stop. I get the kill there. I definitely ignited her there. It helped out a bunch. Once again, that's just the plays. The plays. When you got a good jungler that can come down there and do a little work, it always helps out a bunch. Using that hawk shot to check bushes is something that I like to do. Later in the game it gets real effective from, checking areas that you're running by and, seeing where the enemy is based on where you want to go. But early game, I find it's really useful for coming back to lane and not knowing where they are. Anybody who's ever played AD carry knows for a fact that most of it's CS. So here, I figure I can initiate with my arrow. We can try and get some hits on Cho'Gath, and it works out pretty good in the beginning. But there's a real good example of Vayne's burst damage. She just absolutely melts me, and we give up 2 kills early. The reason that I don't just make highlight videos is because I like to show, at this point now, the lane's even, but Vayne will have the advantage because she's a stronger carry than Ashe is as far as damage is concerned, especially in the early game. So instead of showing a highlight video that just shows me going 30-0 and having nobody as competition, I'd rather show you a video of someone who's keeping up quite well and showing what it takes to get back in the lane. At this point in the game, I even remember commenting on it that Vayne and me have a lot of respect for each other. Here she violates that respect, so I give her the arrow and we try and go in on her real quick, but she very wisely rolls into the bush and then rolls out of it. But I do a good job of trying to stay away from things, let Alistar take that tower with his ultimate. He's basically unkillable, and Loki manages to get out of there pretty good. I slow down the Alistar, and probably should have went in and tried and get the kill, but I didn't want to get killed by that Vayne, and I know she has the ability to burst me down right away, so we kind of leave without anything. Cho'Gath comes in and tries to give me the business, but that Fiddle Fear and the tower end up giving him a kill. There, I so close to getting that volley off and killing that Vayne. Either that or getting her real close to dead, but once again, with a decent team, Kenny comes down and forces the lane out so we don't have to worry about anything. At this point, I had the ability to buy a BF sword, so with the sustain from my Vampiric Scepter and a little attack speed, I feel pretty confident CS is going to get a lot easier for Ashe once you get some attack speed. And with the Vampiric Scepter, you can keep yourself in lane a lot more. Which is the case, I'm sure, with most carries, but Vayne has a little trouble with having low attack speed in the beginning, and like I said, her skills aren't meant to be spammed, unless by some chance you manage to find yourself with a blue. Early game, you can run out of mana real fast. The Leona ult initiate, and the first fail. Look at that. Missed by a mile. Not every shot is a skill shot, even if the title of it is skill shot. Proved that in this game, that's for sure. Garen TP's in, and Alistar shows why he is banned sometimes. Just has the ability to force people out of position. That Vayne should have been dead, and if he didn't stop, I wouldn't have got the kill, but he did stop, however, and now I'm up 1 on Vayne, and we're going to manage to steal the dragon in this. Garen was nice enough to let me have the blue, so like I was saying earlier, now at this point, feel free to spam. You'll see me use my volley a lot more. And go for round 2. It's a long distance, and oh, there's number 2. Fails on fails. That's the Doble fail. I'm a firm believer with Ashe's arrow that if you're not willing to take the shot, you don't deserve the ult, so in that particular case, I don't know if it would have done too much, but I know I've seen circumstances where my arrow's gone out and it's made a huge difference, so I'm willing to toss it out there and see what happens. Now, I could be mistaken, and I'd love for somebody to correct me if I am, but in my opinion, staying in lane as long as you can is the key to, making your AD carry a force to be reckoned with there. In that instance, landed the skill shot, got the ult off, but Vayne ulted out of it and then rolled away and managed to get away from Leona's ult as well. Sure, we could have played that a little bit better, but an ult for an ult isn't a terrible thing. In my experience, when you see Alistar's ult go off, he's going to try and do something stupid, so we wisely back away from this situation. I try to take a little damage here and know that she's going to do a bunch, so we managed to do some work here, but that Alistar forces me to flash out and then forces Loki in a bad position, and I managed to get away with about as least health as you can manage to get away after an AD carry fight. That right there has a lot less to do with skill and a lot more to do with luck. Here I see that they push way back, however. I see a little action going on in the river, and with the amount of lifesteal that I have, I can get right back into lane if they're going to let me farm a little bit. So, don't want to miss out on the CS. Go back in there and do a little work. I figure with the positioning they're at right now, I don't really have a problem at all getting in there and putting some damage on people with the wall dividing us. Anytime you can help out, that's why they call it a carry. And we see Trundle coming down here. I think that we can do some damage to him and get him out of there. Garen does a real good job of picking up on the fact that I'm trying to do damage, and instead of going after that Trundle, which is at that point I figured was a definite secure kill, go for the tower instead. Try and take some of the tower damage off of whoever's back there. But, like I said, Alistar when played right can be a big nuisance. He's not getting kills on damage there, he's getting kills because he's putting people in a bad position. But, get the turret down and manage to go back. I think Zeal is an awesome item for Ashe. I'm not sure if there's a better item out there. I know a lot of people like to go with the static shiv, which is definitely a good item. It does a little AoE damage. As you can see right there, the super fail. That's when your teammates start commenting on your ability to shoot your ultimate off, but it is what it is. But anyways, the static shiv, I usually roll from a static shiv into, depending on what point of the game it is, a last whisper, or try to get some more damage out of the deal, start building your infinity edge. And of course, Blade of the Rune King is always a decent idea, especially if you need a little extra lifesteal, and finally Guardian's Angel, if you get to that point. See, you can't miss that ult right there when they run right at you. All that work, you think Fiddle would have let me have it. But as I was saying earlier, Ashe is really good for the whole initiation part of her is just amazing. I mean, to have an AD carry that can initiate a fight and completely change the tide of a team fight is a pretty rare thing. Here I try and go for Dragon still, but I realize that I'm not going to get it and try to put it down enough DPS to slow him down, but took one step too many in, and I pay the price here. Turns out whoever was playing against Vayne, I believe Garen up top, she wasn't playing. So she picks up the double and get to go home packing. It's important not to get frustrated, especially when you're in a position like carry, which can change the tide of the game at any point. This team doesn't have a whole lot of people that can jump right on me, so I still got the chance. And the fourth fail. So many fails. If I had $1 for every time I missed an Ashe ult, I'd be a rich man. You can see Trundle's way out of position, and the Cho'Gath is definitely out of position as well, so I go after him. I have enough damage to help him out, and plus the slow is helping out a ton. He doesn't have a choice but to sit there and just take all the arrows. Another one of Ashe's strong points, although she's a recommended character, all of her moves slow people, especially when you toggle it on. Her Q. So when you toggle that on, you gotta think you're slowing them every single time you hit them, and with enough attack speed, that means they're just slow the entire time. Your volley does multiple slows to people, and then you consider your ult, that's doing a lot more damage too. It keeps people at bay quite well. There you can see I fire my Hawkshot into the jungle. It's kind of on fast forward, but do that just to check if anybody's coming down to kind of pinch us, give us a good idea that we can be right there. It's a pretty versatile move, but Ashe being a recommended character, I think a lot more people should play her. She gets kind of overshadowed by the Dravens and the Vaynes of the game, but with the utility she has, she can definitely make a team that has a little extra damage on it seem a lot more dangerous. And there it is, you can see it. You see me run away from Cho'Gath instead of running into him in that bush. I take the low end of the bush because I think he's going to be top, and only managed to take one rupture out of the deal and put a lot of DPS on him. Since Trundle apparently wants to play with Garen all game and get killed, you take out the AD carry, which is, in my opinion, the smart thing to do, and attempt to go after this Trundle. Try and get a corner arrow on him or something. Leona goes in hot, manages to get the grab, and from that point on, it's just the slows, on the slows, on the slows. Take a little more tower hits than I probably should have, but at the same time, we get both towers, I believe, and then it's time for me to go down and press the other end. Get the lane pushed out a little bit, and give me some home guard. I love those home guard boots. After having Last Whisper, I don't mind picking up the home guard, especially if they're past the inner towers, or the outer towers, excuse me. It's not a bad thing to regenerate your health right away and get back into the fight. And BAM! That just proves I can do the long distance. That way everybody who was doubting me with all my fails, that's the goodness. Pretty sure I stole that kill, but it is what it is. Leona comes in with the fail ult, but at this point we're pretty good to go. That Cho'Gath, I don't know why he stopped, but he paid for it. Hawk arrow into there, and they get away. I don't feel like chasing them that far. I try to get out of the habit of chasing people all over the map. It's a hard habit to break once you start a fight, disengaging from it. But as I play more and more, I try and stick to the idea that not every fight is a fight that you're going to win the whole time. Here, there's nothing else going on, so why not pick up a little jungle work? poke in and kind of stop us from getting the feed, but at this point we're just waiting for somebody to make a mistake. They keep pushing us to our tower and trying to team fight under it, so there's no reason why we shouldn't let them do that. But I see an open blue, and nobody cares on the team that I take it, so might as well start the next fight with a blue. At this point in the game, I think that that's a bluff. But they don't have the ability to beat us in a team fight most times anyways, so I really don't feel like they'll have the ability to beat us in a team fight under the Baron, so I get back as far as I can from the fight, kill whoever's the lowest ribbon at that point, and then just start putting the DPS on people. Nobody wants to come after me, so just pick a target and start hitting it with as many arrows as you can. Wanted to do Baron there, but somebody on the team wisely said that why don't we just win the game instead? I was trying to get that extra buff at the end. Once again, there's a good example of disengaging when there's no reason to be there. They're all spawned. We can reform up and get our health back. People can spend some gold, and we can come back in there stronger than last time. And since we already beat them, they don't really have the ability to stop us, especially now trying to get Baron again for the second time, even though they didn't get it the first time. Our team does a good job of coming in there and helping out late, but Cannon kind of dies. But my team still thinks they can do it, and that Fiddlesticks is not a joke right now when it comes to damage, so lay down as much DPS as you can and get that Baron. Dun 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 dun. Finally managed to land a good one. She just had to be about 3 feet in front of me. That's how that goes. That's that slow motion movie editing skills that you guys are coming here and know and love. Probably won't be winning any awards. And top it off with a death. Why not? There's nothing like being able to end the game, getting a slow motion arrow shot, and then dying for it right after. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That is why I am not diamond rank. Probably could have got out of there without dying and maybe even picked up a kill, but I was too excited to finally land an arrow. We'll just pretend like that arrow didn't happen. Here you can see the kite, even with Trundle, who can get away real fast. He's just so slow right there and has to use everything he has to stop me. With that, and I stop focusing Alistar. Once again, hard thing to do. It was an easy kill, but there's just no reason I could be putting DPS on somebody who's actually doing damage. We need to get an inhibitor here. I don't think they realize at this point that I'm pushing the bottom one so hard, but we get that. They get that one, and we make the final push. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Just about hit 500 total views on things, which is great, seeing as I just started. If you like the videos, feel free to like and subscribe, please. And as always, the masteries are at the end for you to look at. Thank you.